Very easy. This is a basic box waltz. Okay? So we go on 1, 2, 3. We step forward, ladies, back gentlemen. 5, 4, 5, 6. 6 counts. Nice and simple. So we do it again. We'll do it twice through. On 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. So congratulations, you've just learned a very simple box waltz. Nice and easy, nice and simple. I did have a bit of music here, but I don't have speakers. So, but anyway, try it one more time. We'll do it all together just for fun. Ready, and go. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. Beautiful, beautiful. So the fun thing is when you go out, okay, you go out and you've got those really tiny dance floors. This is one of those dances that you can do, and it's quite small. It doesn't travel. It doesn't go anywhere. Great one for weddings if you have to go to weddings, parties, that sort of thing. But always a bit of fun just to have a nice little box waltz in your back pocket. So, okay, thank you very much.
Hello, Aldwyn Altuney here at day 2 of the Her Story Global Women's Empowerment Conference. Getrude Matshe is here. She's going to fly to the airport in about an hour and a bit time. So she's just about to do a workshop on how to clinch a TED Talk. How to clinch a TED Talk. My hair's a bit fuzzy today with this humidity in Brisbane. Happy International Women's Day. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Can't wait to hear from Getrude now. Let's see what she delivers. Peter, our videographer.
So you have to dance like nobody's watching. Yes.
That's right, dance like no one's watching. Set this up now. Check this out.
Now I found a man who had 2 left feet, but he was willing to learn. And, yeah, we have a lot of fun with that. We have a lot of fun. And the magical thing about this castle where we had the wedding is that I love roses, I love flowers, and he paid a lot of money for the roses for the wedding. And I found this castle on the internet. It was much cheaper to have the wedding in Poland than in New Zealand. And so, the day after the wedding, I thought, I don't want to throw away all these flowers. So I woke up in the morning, sat in the reception of the hotel, and I broke up all of the bouquets into small little bunches, bundled them together, and I gave them to my wedding planner to take to the local hospice where women were dying of cancer. She went to the maternity wards and gave away all of these flowers, and the word spread throughout this little village, and people started calling the castle to thank them for the flowers. And the owner of the castle happened to be in town, German guy, and he's like, I didn't send anybody flowers. So they told him there's a crazy little African woman who's just had a wedding, and this is what she did. So he asked to meet me. He said, why the hell did you do that? I'm like, didn't want to waste them. 2 miracles happened. The last person who got a bunch of flowers was in a hospice, 82-year-old woman. And the wedding planner sent the pictures to the florist and said, Magda, look at what's happened to your flowers. They got a second chance in life. But the woman in that room, the last picture, was in the room where her grandmother had died 2 weeks before. It was her grandmother's best friend. So it went full cycle. The very woman who made the flowers for us, it went back to give joy to her grandmother's best friend. It was just the most craziest thing. And the owner of the castle was so impressed. He said, we're going to throw these flowers every wedding we have to throw them away. So they started a tradition to do the same thing. And they have given us this venue for our first conference in Poland in August. So if you guys want to come with me to Poland, so we're going to go back every year and have our anniversary here and just kind of relive that experience. So we're going to end today with my presentation on how to clench your first TED Talk. And I'll ask you to time me, because I love this subject. I might go over time and miss my flight. But TED changed my life. The minute you get onto the TED platform, it opens up the world.
How long?
What's the time now?
It's 2:30.
So 45 minutes is what? 40 past?
Yes.
Yeah, 45 minutes.
What time is your flight?
6:45.
Oh,
Yeah. So I was thinking if I leave at 3:30, quarter to 4. Just get 30 minutes, right? From here, the airport.
We hope you have a good day.
Oh,
Sunday.
Oh, Sunday.
It's not a weekend.
The train is quicker.
Hang on.
International or
International. We're back to New Zealand today.
Because you're supposed to
Okay.
get 3 hours.
Okay.
No, initially.
It's 2 hours before.
Yeah.
So TED changed my life. I did the first TED Talk with no preparation. I went in and I shared my story, and also never mentioned product. It just gives a very bad impression. Then I got an opportunity to coach with someone in California, and the first talk was done, I think, in 2004. I did 2 TED Talks last year after working with this guy, and he really helped me refine my idea worth spreading. And my idea worth spreading is the Ubuntu philosophy. So what I've done now is I'm creating a body of content where I explain Ubuntu from a different perspective. So we tried the program last year that I've been developing, and I pitched myself to about 30 TED Talks globally. I ended up being accepted in 4. I presented in 2, one in upstate New York, one in Auckland. The other 2 fell on my wedding on the 24th of August and on my daughter's wedding on the 5th of October. So we had 2 weddings last year, so I couldn't go. But the system works. So, what is TED all about? I talked to you how I developed my speaking skills. It's been practice. Practice, practice, practice makes perfect. And what I'm trying to do with the Her Story platform is to create a safe space where you don't feel judged. We're just here to support each other as speakers. So grab the opportunities where you can. I started speaking for Rotary clubs, Lions clubs. If you go on to Rotary International right now and put in your zip code, you will find 5, 6, 10 Rotary clubs that meet every single week, morning, afternoon, evening, and they need speakers. So Rotary, Lions clubs are really good. In school, I was great with public speaking, debate. I remember winning a public speaking competition when I was 13 against the 18-year-olds, and I won the regional finals for that. And then I talked about the Norway story. In South Africa, I paid my way through university speaking. So Cape Town is a city that rains in July, and it was the longest time when I was in university you could go and make some money. It's the longest vacation. And I made money to pay through my tuition by making African clothes. I moved to South Africa just before apartheid ended, and you could not buy African clothing in shops. People wanted to identify with being black. So I would import fabric from home, from Zimbabwe. I used to dress parliamentarians in Cape Town. I'm a really good designer, and all of it is not something I went to school for, but my mother used to sew, and I can look at a magazine picture and make an outfit. So I paid my way through college, but I also paid my way through college for storytelling in Cape Town. So the practice has come a very long way. I talk about New Zealand and the book, and Born on the Continent is the book that I wrote. But to sell the book, I would look for free speaking opportunities. And that's how I met Nick. I came to a BNI meeting that you had, and I promoted my book through BNI and made quite a few sales that day. And then the magic started to happen when I did the first TED Talk. The International Coaching Federation found my TED Talk online, and we were having a conference in Florida. And the highest I'd been paid to speak in New Zealand was $3,000 an hour. In Australia, $7.5. Wow. I had no idea how much to charge in the US. And I called my dad just before he died, and I said, Dad, I don't know what to do. He said to me, Getrude, the fact that they called you from Florida means you've made an impression on someone. So this is what you do. Meditate, you talk about talking to the universe, ask for what you want. So I went into meditation and prayer, and I woke up in the morning and I thought 15,000 an hour would be really cool. Whoa. So I called them up, I said 15,000 an hour. The lady was so delighted, she's like, oh my gosh, thank you. Thanks us to your contract. And so I sent her my contract. I left 10,000 on the table. They had a budget of 25,000 an hour.
Oh, US?
US dollars. But what happened was I came to New Zealand. So when you get my contract, they pay me 50% deposit for the booking and 50% when I've done the job. 3 days later, I wake up, there's $15,000 in my bank account instead of 7.5. So I called up and said, I think you made a mistake. He said, no, you put 7.5. I'm in New Zealand, but with the exchange rate, I got down. It was the coolest thing. And I've learned to convert a room. When you convert a room, the reason why I'm encouraging people to write books is you make more money selling books than the actual speaking fee itself, if you know how to sell from stage. And people want to take a piece of you away with them. It's a pity I don't have any of my books here, but I know how to convert a room. And what you do in your speech is you sell without selling. People buy the story. They're buying something to take a piece of you away with them. My coaches are Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen. When I published my book, somebody gave my book to Mark Victor Hansen. And he had just come back from Kenya on a safari. He had gone to shoot game, paid $70,000 US to come back to the Lion's Head.
Oh.
And this guy's at this conference and he says, Mark, I have a friend from New Zealand. She's trying to raise money through her book that's self-published. She needs a mentor. Mark says, tell her to come to LA today. I need to meet her. I maxed out 3 credit cards to get to Los Angeles. Again, didn't make sense, but I knew there was something there. When I met with him, the last day of his trip in Africa, somebody took these rich tourists on a trip to the largest orphanage in Africa. This is about 15 years ago. And at that time, we had orphanages that were full of babies. Moms have died, and there are just cots and cots and cots. And because they didn't have enough people to hold the babies during the day, they would bust in these rich tourists.
Oh.
And that's what he did on his last trip in Africa. He was holding a baby for 10 minutes, put it down, pick up the next one, and he said, Getrude, I regretted the money I had wasted on that poor lion.
Oh.
And he said, by supporting you, I'm going to be making a difference in the world. So Mark is my mentor.
Wow.
And he wove into my speech lines that sell without selling. He quadrupled my sales with one line at the end of my speech. Buy one for yourself. Buy one for someone you love. Buy one for someone who needs inspiring. People need permission to buy multiple books. Unless you say it, they'll buy one copy. And I remember speaking at a Rotary conference in Wellington. There were about 250 people at this event. They come from all over the country. And I remember that line. I thought, why don't I sell a box full of books instead? So that was the last line. I said, I know you've come from all over New Zealand. Some of your members aren't here. Please buy a box of my books. It's $980 and you can on-sell the books to your members. Do you want to know how many boxes I sold that day? 17.
Wow.
I made $17,000 in one conference because of that one line.
Wow. What was that one line?
Buy one for yourself. Buy one for someone you love. Buy one for someone who needs inspiring. Because immediately somebody will start thinking, Christmas, I've got this person and that person. So you actually have to suggest it. My other little miracle was the Rooney International Scholar. So there's a football team in Pittsburgh called the Steelers. Have you ever heard of American football? It's owned by a family called the Rooneys. They're billionaires. Mrs. Rooney found my TED Talk online. Contacts me to go and lecture at a university where she was working. So when she retired, she created a position called the Rooney International Scholar. And they bring in writers and philosophers and musicians. And you do a 6-month stint lecturing. My memoir, my personal story, transferred from being a memoir to an academic text.
Oh, wow.
There is no literature about Ubuntu. I'm the only writer who's written a book about Ubuntu. That's why I'm saying I keep using the TED platform to explain it from different perspectives. And that job was one of the best jobs I've ever had. For 6 months, I worked 2 hours a day, 2 hours a week. They gave me a fully furnished 5-bedroom house, a car, $10,000 a month.
Wow.
So you can position yourself in the academic world in a very unusual way. There's positions like this all over the world. I just got an invitation last week to go and lecture in Slovakia. Again, they're finding me through the internet because of my TED Talks. So TED is powerful. So, what is your proposed idea? I want you to really think about this, and I want you to anchor your why. Why do you want to spread it? Why do you think it's important for people to get your idea worth spreading? You have to have laser clarity on that. For me, if I succeed in spreading Ubuntu, people are going to be more connected. There's going to be empathy. There's going to be compassion in the world. That's an energy that I can help release through my speaking. Why does this idea matter to you? For me, it's everything. It's a way of life. It's a way of living. It's a way that brings joy. It's a way that makes people present to each other. That's why I do what I do. And I know, you know how they say, what is your life purpose? When I jumped into this little birthday suit with my chocolate brown skin, I knew what it was. I said, I'm going down to planet Earth and I'm going to change the world through this story. I know why I'm here. So what is that for you? Why does it matter so much to you? Why are you passionate about it? I'm passionate because this idea spreads and this idea changes lives. Since the Her Story Conference started, I am getting people writing to me who I have never met, who have watched my talks, who are living differently because of it. And that gives me joy. You know, the other speaker said earlier, what will people say at your gravesite when you die? I know that all of you will say, the day that I'm dead, there was this amazing, this crazy little African woman who used to wiggle her bum and make us laugh, but she's gone. She left a mark. That's the footprint that I want to leave. So what is that for you? So, how is this idea new? The idea that you have. My idea was not new. This is a philosophy that has existed for centuries. But what I've done with my idea is I've brought it back to the mainstream. I've awakened people to something that was there already. So it doesn't have to be brand new, it's just how you present it. How to title your TED Talk so it goes viral. The title of your TED Talk is really important. It's like the title of a book. Catchy book titles have got words in them that draw people in. We were talking yesterday about getting free publicity. When you write a headline, it has to have the words that grab the audience, that grab the readers. So work with somebody who's good at writing titles, and I have people who can help you with that. There's some people who just have a crazy way of stringing words together, and you want to be able to work with someone like that to write the title of your book. And you also have to put in the keywords that somebody will type into Google search engine to find you. For me, it's easy. This word is just one word, and the minute it comes up, I pop up. But it's going to be different for your content. So think of the keywords that people will type in. I always start with an outline of my speech. You have 15 minutes. You can go up to 18 minutes. And the way you plan a TED Talk is work on the first 5 minutes, the middle 5 minutes, and the last 5 minutes separately. The first 5 is your setup. You're kind of introducing people to the concept. In the middle, it's the things that happen with my life. It's been the conflicts, the ups and downs of my life. And in the end, it's the resolution. How are you going to leave people? And you want to try and leave your audience uplifted with your presentation. Even if it's a sad story, what was the good thing that came out of the sadness that you can share? A beginning, a middle, and an end. And at the end, there must be a call to action. Because with TED, you're trying to get people to act differently, to be different. So you have to say to them, this is how you do it. Remember when I said that to install the Ubuntu philosophy is very simple? Put your family first, your community next. If you have something to spare, do something somewhere else in the world. That's my call to action in that TED Talk. So, how do you express your idea into your talk? This is a difficult thing for a lot of people. They say that when you give a presentation, you either have to make people laugh, you have to make people cry, you have to make them feel something. You have to evoke some emotion in the people who are listening to you in the room. If you can't do that, within 10 minutes of your speech, their eyes are glazing over, they're not in the room with you, you've lost them. You have 30 seconds to make an impression. They say when you're speaking, you give people a visual bite. Just a snack. And a sound bite. So the way you sound when you start is important. And you don't have to start immediately. I start with poses sometimes. I just don't say anything. People think I've frozen, I've forgotten my words, but they really start to focus. They want to know what she's going to say, right? Yeah. So I bring them in with silence. So don't be afraid to pause and to stop during your presentation. And to read your audience. You know, if they're laughing with you, laugh with them. If they're crying with you, cry with them. But you have to be able to read the room. Otherwise, again, they lose you or you lose them. So what are the implications of your idea? Again, for me, the implications are huge. If I can be known for that woman who spread this philosophy around the world, the implications are huge. When I spoke in the United States, in New York, I talked about gun control, what's happening in the schools in America. The theme of that TED Talk was Think Again. So every TED Talk has a theme. So when you search for your TED Talk, remember to align your presentation with the theme of the conference. And I said, the child who has died in a school through gun violence in America right now, the difference between that child and your child is location. So the next time that you hear that there has been gun violence somewhere in the United States, do something, advocate, go stand with those kids who are advocating against gun control. think again. So I repeated think again at the end of my speech. It was in line with the theme of the actual conference. So you really have to pay attention to the conference and what they're trying to push out as a theme for the conference. What will or will not happen if people don't know about your idea? Our world is in trouble right now. This world is in trouble right now. There is a need for a feminine energy to heal this planet. That's what her story is about for me. And the implications are humanity will destroy itself. Look at what we're doing to our environment. Do you know that China has had the cleanest air since this coronavirus? You heard that?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to work. So nature has a way to whack us in the face and bring back the balance. Everything is connected. So, how will it impact the world? How will your idea impact the world and make a difference? I know what this is going to do. One, I've already started by just this small group of people connecting. By the end of this year, it could be 10,000 women connected who will tell 10 friends. Now we're 100,000 who tell 10 friends, now we're 1 million. That's what I know, the game that I'm playing. So really think through, how will it impact the world? And how have you already impacted the world? You know, we don't take credit for the things we've done already. So I made a list, and I was just sharing Eugenia with you just now during lunchtime, because we hadn't connected and she missed my talk yesterday. So we sat and I was just talking her through the presentation from yesterday. As I was talking to you, I realized that I have made a big impact. They're little things. They're small. But imagine the kids that I started working with 20 years ago are now adults. The little girl who I was kneeling at her feet and giving her a bowl of porridge. I love that picture because the difference between that little girl and me is education. My parents gave me an education, and if I can educate her, she's gonna be me. And the last time I went to Zimbabwe, there were these two little kids at the school that I attended, and then one of them said, "Oh my God, she's so beautiful." She had a lisp. And the other one said, "You know what? She's driving the car." And I realized in that moment that all I had to do was to keep showing up as usual. Because they could see themselves in me and know that they could drive a car like they made in our village, you know? It's those little things. So thank you for reminding me today of the impact I've already had. So you have to position yourself as an expert in something. You have to position yourself as an expert. You could be an expert in grief counseling. You could be an expert in property investing. Whatever that's going to be, what are you an expert in? And why are you the right person to present this topic? I'm the right person to talk about Ubuntu because I'm Black and I'm from Africa. I know that. I own it. I love it. But what is it going to be for you? And to be an expert, you have to show that you have written books. You have to show that your intellectual mind is being used in different ways. And you have to start creating a digital footprint of who you are as an expert. And that means every single presentation you have, like today, get it on video. That's why we have cameramen here. It could be the worst speech you give, it doesn't matter. Because when they Google your name, they're going to go onto YouTube. They want to see you in multiple locations, different conferences, speaking. Where are you active as an expert in your field? I don't have a PhD, and I lecture in universities in the United States. Nobody does that. But I've made myself an expert. It wasn't by design, it was by default. I just happy little accident, and I love it, but imagine if I had done it deliberately, where this could be. So, what do you want your audience's initial takeaway to be? When people leave the room and they've heard you speak, what is that little nugget of wisdom that you gave them that they can take away and implement straight away? And just think of one thing and focus on that one thing. My little nugget was, go home and have an authentic conversation with your husband. Go home and talk to your kids. It starts at home, and it's so easy to implement. So what can your audience do as soon as they walk out of that room and execute? And how will your talk impact your audience? There is a TED Talk, and I'm going to email you this PowerPoint so you don't have to worry too much about writing. There's a TED Talk that talks about the best speeches ever made. And this scientist, this researcher, researched Martin Luther King's speech, all of the best orators in the world, and there is a rhythm to storytelling. And what happens is you have to start with what is the condition where people are and what will be. So it's a graph. She actually mapped this graph of the best speeches in the world, and they go up with what is, what could be. I have a dream. Yeah. And then he talked about what was possible. Then he brings you down to reality. And then he talks about it there. And he takes you back to what could be. There is a rhythm to presenting. When people hear me speak, they say, Getrude, you take us on a roller coaster of emotions. There's a lot of ups and downs in my life, a lot of sadness, but a lot of joy. A lot of sadness and a lot of joy. And when I speak and when I write, that's what comes across. So try and weave that into your presentations as well, because as I've said, unless people feel something, you're not going to have an impact. Okay, 3 ways to increase your credibility. We are living in a world where we have the internet. The world is flat, people, because of the internet. Every single presentation we have had today is going onto the Her Story website. We're not as big as TED, but we're working towards it. Somebody in the world is going to listen to it. Use the internet, use social media. Do you have a website? And is your website search engine optimized? A lot of people will create websites that are beautiful brochures. We have an expert right here who can help you with that. You need to have a website that converts. There's no point in having a website that doesn't give you any results. And when you write your web pages, you optimize each page for one keyword. And in the text, you have to have a minimum of 300 words, and you have to mention that keyword somewhere in the beginning, somewhere in the middle, somewhere in the end. So when search engines are looking for content, when somebody types into Google, Ubuntu, it will troll the internet for that word. So the mention of the word on a page 3 times will pull it up, and you will rank organically without paying for Google advertising. So knowing how to search engine optimize your writing is really important. And start blogging. Start creating content around your subject. Be a guest blogger on other people's blogs. Medium is a good place to do that. There's a website called medium.com where you can blog every month. It draws a lot of traffic, people pay attention to it. I write e-zines. I publish electronic magazine articles. And with every single article I put out there, I put a link to my website. Again, the more places your URL appears on other people's websites, it pushes up your SEO organically. People can find you. So you have to create your digital footprint. And your digital footprint is important for a number of things. When you have a photograph taken, like we've had photos today, make sure that you name the photograph with your name. Search engines read words, they can't see images. So tonight when you go home, I want you to Google my name in Google Images and see how many pictures of me you'll find. That is a deliberate strategy. So when people are trying to find Getrude Matshe, they type me in Google, hundreds of pictures pop up. I've done it deliberately to show that I'm online, I'm doing stuff, and then I'm being referenced in a magazine, I'm being referenced in a TV show. reference on a radio station. So if you're asked to do a podcast, give them a photo of you. What's your name? So that's how the search engines will find you. And you build your just visual footprint that way. So understand what TED events and event organizers are looking for. They are looking for authenticity. You can go to Toastmasters, you can go to a voice trainer, you can do all the best training in the world. But if you are not authentically you, people can read that. Human beings can read body language before you even open your mouth. So be authentic. Credibility, we talked about how to create the credibility. We talked about how to make yourself an authority around a certain subject. And the sound of the visual bite I've already touched on. So, I want to give you an opportunity now to ask me questions. This is now a time for you. Maybe talk to me about your idea that you have worth spreading, something that you wanted to do on TED for the last 15 minutes. That's what we'll do. Because I find that I give people more benefit when you ask me, because I know what I know. I don't know what you need to know. This is your opportunity to ask me questions. Yes?
Because you're just watching my talk today, I really would love to do a TED talk, but I don't, this is only the second time I've really done it. The other one was the first
Yes.
so thank you for the opportunity. Do you think it is something that has a place that lands? I mean, obviously there'd be lots to do, but the concept even self-conservation.
I like what you've done because one, it's framing where you're from. You're authentic in that sense because you're from Africa. It's beautiful the way you've woven the rhino's extinction with humanity's extinction, or our extinction as people.
Yes.
So I really love what you've done there. There's a few things that we need improving, but as a concept, you've nailed it. And it's so unique. There's nothing like it. And it's a book. I was actually going to tell you that that's a book that you've written right there.
I haven't even seen it yet. It was meant to come yesterday or Friday.
Okay. So you're already an authority on your subject, but I can hear that you've thought through the content. It's not just something you haphazardly put together. There's a lot of thought that's gone into it. And even the way you presented the slides, really good. But one of the things about having too many slides is people get distracted and don't put words on your slides because people start reading the words and they stop listening to you. That makes sense? So if you see a lot of my presentations, there are pictures that guide me through the story, so I just remember what story I'm supposed to tell. And I stop preparing for my speeches. I go in, if I search theme that a conference is having, I have a rough idea which life story goes in line with that theme, but I don't rehearse in my head, what am I going to say? So I might write a speech and rehearse it, but when I present it, it's like I'm just telling another story. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because there's a disconnect that happens when you go into your head and when you're trying to speak from your heart.
Yes.
It happened to me in Mexico. I was speaking in front of 3,000 people. The other projector wouldn't work. And I'm standing there thinking, oh gosh, what do I do? And I was guided to take off my shoes. So you notice I don't wear shoes. Do you know what that does?
Grounds you.
Grounds me. Do you know what else it does?
Makes you think.
Point of difference, right? Who goes to a TED talk barefoot? Are you with me?
Yeah.
Crazy African woman.
It's all up that way.
Exactly. And for me, if I wear heels, I'm like up here, I'm trying to balance, I'm like, you know, so I'm just me. And I went to do this presentation. So I took off my shoes, and the words I always ask myself when I give a presentation is, how may I serve? How may I serve the people in the room? And something else takes over when you work from that space. I remember coming off stage, who had Q to come and buy my book. And this man came to me and said, Getrude, can I give you a hug? And he put his arms around me. When he stepped back, he was hairy. The hair on his arms was standing aside. His shirt was like this, just there. And he said, oh my God, that felt electric. Do you realize that you channel when you speak? I'm like, oh, no, I don't do that. He's like, you're channeling. Where did that come from? And then somebody asked me to write down a line of something I something took over my body. And it's the most magical space to speak from. So I have to watch my own presentations to see what came out. It's a beautiful space, and the way the words string together, I couldn't have made it up if I thought of it. Does that make sense?
Yes. I've got a question about that because I channel naturally and I do. Oh, I've got a question about that because I'm a channel and I do that for my work and my business. So I channel live on Facebook, Instagram. I do live channel group healings. And I'm so in that space, and that's exactly where I work from. I stopped planning.
Yeah.
The more my head gets
Get out of the
involved,
way.
get out of the way, because I want this just to come from source.
Yeah.
And when you're coming from that space, it's infinite potentiality.
Yes.
But, you know, that's my space. I'm only in that space, right? That's my business. Stepping out in a crowd in front of 100 people or doing a TED talk, being brave enough to step into that space there, I feel like I want to ask you, what is that bridge? Because I can
tell you straight away.
Okay.
Your ego is getting in the way. You have to understand the human ego. Our ego is designed to protect us from getting hurt. Something goes wrong, so it's a natural instinct we each have. And when that bubbles up, don't push it away. Thank it, because it was designed to help us survive. Say, thank you, ego, I hear you, I love you, you're trying to protect me, but I've got to do this. Imagine what you're doing in your small group settings if you got on a TED platform and did that. Imagine. So that's how you have to think. Get out of the way. That's just your ego.
Yeah.
Holding you back.
She's big.
Exactly. And she's beautiful. She got you this far. Yeah. Don't push against it. Just be with it.
I can completely relate to that because, you know, for me, I see myself as a facilitator, I see myself dropping in and reading the room, and then as soon as the thought of having to get up and speak, which hasn't been my natural thing, keynotes, whatever you want to call them, there was a sense of needing to plan, and yet there was an awkwardness because I was in content today that, okay, it was my story, but it was not necessarily my natural flow, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So it's an interesting one in the bridging of stepping out of facilitation and conversation to stepping up in a new way, being in the conversation, trying something else new. So there's
a bridge that needs to be gapped.
Yeah. And part of it, I think, is actually having the places and the opportunities to practice and to feel it.
Welcome to her story.
Exactly.
Welcome.
Exactly. Just to play with it and feel it through and be witnessed and to witness all of that. So yeah, I don't know if there's anything you'd like to say in addition around that one.
There is a bridge that has to be gapped, and don't think it's going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
Just be gentle with yourself as well.
Yeah.
It's like wearing a new pair of shoes. First time you wear them, it's icky, feels a bit weird. You keep wearing them, it gets more comfortable. Before you know it, you're comfortable in those shoes. So that's what public speaking is about. And it's speaking at this level. That's what it's about.
Toulouse and did it in October. My problem is the bridge between getting it from there out into the world.
So my program shows you how to make your TED talk go viral.
And I think today was part of the exposed where I was stuck there. So, and just listening to you now, I just all of a sudden feel as excited as I was in the idea of doing a TED talk.
Yes.
But then I didn't even watch it for 2 months.
Oh,
I just couldn't even watch myself. I just knew I would be the critic. And then
we are our worst.
people have watched it and told me it's amazing, and so then I finally watched it, but I still haven't put it really on
Put it out there.
Facebook. No.
So own it.
It's honouring again. It's back to the honouring.
Honoring the story.
So,
Yes. Yeah, and in the creating of you as a speaker, one of the things that I do with all of my speakers is I help you create who you are as a brand. So I want you to do a little exercise quickly before we finish. I want you to think of 3 words that best describe you. Could be words that somebody said. I went back to a testimonial that I got from one of my clients. And she wrote this beautiful testimonial. She said something like, Getrude is a vibrant bundle of African energy. So delicious. And I pulled out the words vibrant, hence the vibrant colors, African. I show up as African everywhere I go in public. You will never see me wearing that unless I'm going to a funeral. And the energy part is the dance, is the way I write the fonts that I use for my branding. There's a whole lot of elements you can weave into your branding to really stand out. So that's one thing. The next thing you have to think about is your colors. So if I was to say Coca-Cola, what colors come to mind? If I was to say Nike, what do you see? White. It's a symbol. So you could choose colors, you could choose symbols to represent your brand. It could be a butterfly, it could be the rhino that you have. That's a symbol.
This is my brand color. That's why I wore it today. Just
hey.
and the lipstick.
And then you keep showing up as that, and you're a brand.
Yeah.
I base my branding on Oprah. I love that woman. Remember how I said success leaves clues? Everything she does, I do. Created Her Story magazine, who's on the front cover? Yours truly. So you have to find role models to follow as well. It could be another speaker that you've seen and you really like how they've done it. Don't go and copy directly, but take aspects of what they've done and weave it into something that's your own. Symbols we've talked about, colors we've talked about. So we put together what's called a branding style guide. It will have the fonts that go with who you are. All of my fonts are wacky. They're artistic, they're crazy, they're not conservative fonts. It says something about who I am, and that's important for people to see as a brand. We then look for shapes. So I Googled African shapes in Shutterstock. So when you see me on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, the cover has got the same branding colors but different shapes or different patterns. So I play with patterns and colors. You need what's called brand consistency so that you look the same. Somebody finds you on LinkedIn, they find you on Facebook, oh, there's Getrude, there she is again, there she is again. Right throughout social media, you need to have what's called brand consistency to be able to stand out. So part of the package is I help you with all of that, getting really clear who you are. Because you're no longer you when you're a speaker, you're a product. You're going into the world to package like a product, and what does that product look like? How can people identify with it and relate to it? So we show you how to pitch. We have a database of over 450 TED Talks just in North America for 2020 right now. We're working on one for the UK, one for Europe, New Zealand, and Australia. And we research and see which is the best TED Talk that goes with who you are. And we pitch it on your behalf. When the responses come back, we help you create the 3-minute audition video. So you know when you registered, we're supposed to submit a 3-minute audition video. I'm using the Her Story platform to prepare people for TED. Those who want to get on TED.
That was overwhelming.
And exactly, because people don't know how to compress their story into the short. If you learn how to do it though, it means if you're at a function or a meeting and somebody says, what do? You can tell them in 2 minutes and not bored and stiff with the whole damn story. Are you with me? It's your elevator pitch. That little 2-minute video is really crucial.
Because I found that was just stumbling block.
I found a lot of people that couldn't send me those 2-minute videos. And in the instructions, that was very clear. I said, say your name, how old you are, where you're based, and this is my story, and focus on one story. But people start thinking, oh, I need to tell them everything. You don't. You could have said something like, I fell in love with dance because there was a moment in time in your life when you fell in love with dancing. What was that? And I also say to people, when you're preparing that little 2-minute video, suck me into your story straight away. Then you want to know more about you. And people missed that opportunity, they didn't even practice. So you have to send that video to me when you get home. When you get home, don't overthink it. Because that's what the problem, people overthink and they start.
I'm stressed about it.
I know, I get that feedback all the time.
Every time I pick up my laptop and think I can't do it, put it down. I ring my girlfriend and say, I can't do it. I'm going to do this, but I can't do it. And I actually talk myself out of it
doing it
instead of actually doing it.
And there was no right or wrong to it.
But I think there was that innate, I'm going to stuff it up, it's not going to be what they want. Oh my, and so then the fear overtook the passion and the
what you want to do.
Can I just say,
Oh,
I did
time
mine
out.
9
Oh, 2
times.
minutes. Yeah, but I'm watching. Hey?
Yeah, I did mine 9 times before I got it right, and I did it 10 times on my talk, like a talk thing, because you know the voice recorder.
Yeah.
On my way to my mum's, I was stuck to what I was going to say in my head. That was 10 times, and when I actually did it on video, I sent her the 9th copy. So
It took
it
Yeah.
took a long time.
Yeah, so that's the importance about your Christian video. So when we pitch you to TED, we pitch that 2-minute video, we help you develop all of this, like why is right there worth spreading. When you're ready to prepare your speech, you prepare 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and don't over prepare, because when you are speaking, you take longer than you do on paper. So don't go and write a 15-minute speech, read it at home, think you're going to come here and do it in 15 minutes. It's not going to work. You've got an audience reaction. So you normally plan to 12 minutes. I can guarantee it will extend to 18. So rather underplay. Because if you go over 18 minutes on TED, they don't put it on their website. That's the other thing. So thank you, everybody. So, Mona, we need to do the raffle. There is a gift. All of these are potential TED Talk workshops. Anybody who bought a raffle ticket will get the first 3 hours with me.
Today's people don't know about the raffle.
Oh, sorry. So we have raffle tickets. And you get to win one little bag. They've got New Zealand chocolate for those from New Zealand. And little gifts that a girlfriend made to give away, all these beautiful necklaces made out of New Zealand shells.
Lovely.
But you get the first 3 hours of the TED coaching with me. Package. Yeah. Yeah, these are the raffle tickets. Whoever wins a raffle. Yeah. So buy your ticket from Mona.
Her Story Conference, Day 2, Happy International Women's Day. We are here with Getrude Matshe. Just did a fantastic talk. This is the group here in Brisbane today. Have a fantastic day. Hope you enjoyed that. And connect with me on Mass Media Tribe, and make sure you connect with Getrude as well. Check out the Her Story Global Women's Empowerment Conference. I'm Aldwyn. I'll catch you again soon. Have a beautiful day. Bye.